Today we have another guest representing another nonprofit in the city of Long Beach. And our guest today is Patty Larson. And Patty is the director of Food Finders in the city of Long Beach. And I think it says what it is, but tell us what Food Finders is in the city of Long Beach.
We are basically a multi-regional food bank, not a traditional food bank, but we find food that is donated from grocery stores, caterers, restaurants, produce marts, and then that food is directly taken to shelters and agencies and youth centers and senior centers that are actually serving people who are underprivileged or needy.
So it isn't that you have a soup kitchen someplace, it's that you give them to the people and agencies that supply the food to the people.
Right, and we are the middleman basically who is sourcing the food so that a lot of these agencies that have other social services can focus on those services. And then the food is taken to them to actually prepare meals or hand out as pantry items and groceries.
And are there a lot of them in the city that give you food?
We have about 350 plus food donors right now, and they are all over. They're within Long Beach, but they're also in South Bay, LA, the Produce Mart downtown, and in Orange County as well.
And then do they bring them to you, or do they have them go directly to the shelters?
Well, all the food is going directly out. So our drivers that pick up and our volunteers all take the food directly to the places that is serving or using it.
So if a restaurant or someplace wants to give a lot of food, you have trucks and drivers?
Yes.
And they're all volunteers?
Well, 2 are staff drivers, and then we have a backup person that drives for us. But most of them are, they're volunteers who are using their vehicles, and they go out, and it's usually a very close radius to where they're picking up to where they're delivering.
And Food Finders organizes all of that?
Yes, we do all the logistics for that.
And do you have a staff? We
do. We have, 4 full-time staff and 3 part-time staff. So we have about 7 people right now, and we have a couple interns as well helping out.
So you have some money coming in through donors?
We do. We have our contributions coming from donors, private donors, businesses, grants.
That helps keep this going?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that right? Now, are they mainly from the city of Long Beach to the distributing places?
Oh, they're from all over. We actually cover LA, Orange County, so our donors vary from both regions. A lot of the agencies we serve are within the Long Beach area because that's that's where we started. So.
And do they bring you produce and things of that nature too? Or
yes,
is it mainly
absolutely.
Like what?
Well, we get produce. We get about 60 to 7% of what we pick up is produce, is fresh fruits and vegetables.
Right?
So a lot of what we're doing is helping improve nutrition for the people that are needy and impoverished. And then a lot of it is perishable items, things from restaurants, food that has to get out right away, and that's partly why we take it out same day.
Well, if I wanted to give, and I ran a restaurant and wanted to give food, what would I do?
You would contact us, and we would arrange for a time for pickup, and if you needed containers to store the food in, we would provide those as well.
But like one day I would give you a lot, and the next day I wouldn't give you very much. Do you have that? Or is it the same?
That happens a lot. We have regular pickups. Some are every day, some are once a week, some are once a month, but it varies, and then we adjust according to our agencies and shelters and when they're feeding people. So we try to get the food to them, in a timely manner. So if they're doing lunch, they get it the evening before, the morning of, when they're doing their meals, so that it's all planned, so the food can be as fresh as possible.
And did you tell me, I've forgotten, how many places distribute, or I mean how many places work directly with the homeless?
Receive the food? Well, we serve about 200 plus agencies and shelters, and that goes up and down a little bit.
Is that right? And every day?
On a regular basis, so probably within the month. Some serve food every day, some have food once a week or have a meal program once a week. Some it might be twice a month, so it just varies.
I see.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to be a place that received the food to give to my church or my recreation group, what would I do?
What we require each place that we provide food to be a nonprofit as well. So they would all have to provide a 501c3 letter to us and then fill out an agency application. And that lets us determine what types of food you're looking for, how often, and who you're feeding. So we have an idea of what to be providing as people donate food to us. And if we have a donor in the area, we try to match up the donors as close to the agency as possible. So it's all staying within the same community that it's coming from.
And have you ever had an estimate of how many people you reach with this that would be almost starving without it?
Well, we try and manage each agency's number of people they serve. What we basically try and estimate based on is the pounds of food that we pick up. So based on an average, we feed or provide food for about 39,000 to 40,000 meals, just on the amount of weight every day. So we pick up an average of 7 million pounds of food a year.
Wow.
And that's providing quite a few number of meals. It's not always a rounded out meal, but according to the number of pounds we pick up, it's about that much food, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what was that number again?
39,000 pounds, or 39,000 meals.
Oh, for heaven's sake, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have this in our city, there would be 39,000 people that go without eating.
Right. I know. It's shocking the number of people, and as you can imagine, the demand has gone up in the past years. But it is amazing how much we're able to provide, and there are a few places that if we don't provide food for them, they would not be able to keep their doors open. So there have been times when we've gone and done special purchases for some places just because the demand is so high.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, when did this start?
Back in 1989. Our founder is Arlene Mercer, and many people are familiar with her.
Yes.
She
was in
started,
it a long time.
Yes, and she started because she saw food being thrown out in a dumpster and thought, that looks like perfectly good food. It's a shame that someone is over here and another block away digging in a dumpster to try and find food, and started to pair up places that had the leftovers with local agencies and tried to educate people about the Good Samaritan Law, which helps cover them for liability. So, yeah, and it started in her garage as a small effort and just grew to where we're now. It was, I think, 3,000 pounds of food the first 2 or 3 years that she started, and now we're almost at 100 million pounds of food rescued. So we're celebrating that as our 24th year.
That's wonderful. That's just amazing.
Thank you, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Patty, you've just done a wonderful job. And when did you start with them?
Well, I started as a volunteer back in 2009, and I came in to do a little bit of marketing and fundraising, and I was brought on more part-time, regular person, and then worked on the website and became more and more ensconced. And as Arlene retired a year and a half or 2 years ago, I guess it was, that's when they appointed me interim director. So,
well, I can't imagine doing anything that would be more satisfying and more feeling that you're really making a difference than providing food.
It is. It's a basic need. And you think about a lot of the kids that are going hungry or a lot of people going hungry are children, and for them to function in school, it's essential that they have this food.
Meals. Absolutely. And the facilities that take the food, what kind of is the breakdown with the shelters and the churches and is there a number like you have?
As far as how many are shelters or
how
people
many are
that we're
shelters
serving?
And how many?
I don't know the breakdown between churches and youth centers. I know there are quite a few churches and quite a few larger shelters. The shelters tend to have the larger people in need and the lines that go out the door. But they're everything from a sober living house with 4 or 6 people to, Long Beach Rescue Mission or COA or Dream Center downtown that has thousands of people that they serve each week.
And do these, if you give it to a church group, do they have people that take this and make meals out of them? They cook there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of them have kitchens, and they cook the meals based on what it is they get from us. So they don't always know what they're getting. They'd have to be very versatile. They are very versatile. I'm sure very talented cooks. Yes. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, this is a real lesson for all of us to learn because, as you say, this is something that you need daily, and we have a lot of people that do need that daily. And I like your background. You ended up volunteering and ended up as a career now.
Yes.
But it makes you feel like you're doing something very important.
It does. And you know, one of the things we're working towards is increasing the level of nutrition education that each of our agencies will hopefully learn, you know, a little bit more. So as they're serving the food, we know that it's being prepared well. And then also just getting every food vendor, whether you're a restaurant or a bakery or what, to just really think about donating anything that's left over so it doesn't go to waste.
Well, I hope you have more people call you now by
you.
reviewing this, because
Me too.
this is just absolutely wonderful, and it's so good to know about this and to know what is happening in our city. And this is another good example of people caring for people, and I can't think of anything that's more fulfilling than what we've just heard in the last few minutes. Thank you very much. We'll be back in a minute.